In the United States, some new national polls show Kamala Harris increasing her lead over Donald Trump. A Forbes-Harris survey of just over 3,000 registered voters found that Harris leads Trump by 3 points, 48 to 45%. A separate post-debate poll done by the Morning Consult has Harris with an even wider lead of 11,000 voters surveyed. Just after the debate, 51% said they support Harris to 45% for Trump. And finally, the New York Times, which tracks sort of an overview of a number of national polls today, showing this: Kamala Harris ahead of Donald Trump by 4 points. Remember, although this is a national snapshot, the real battle in those 6 to 7 key swing states where the race is a whole lot closer, although even in most of those states, there is still an advantage to Kamala Harris right now. Eric Ham is standing by, CTV News political analyst covering U.S. politics here. So what do you make of the polls? What's the takeaway for you?
I think the polls are actually on to something. I think what we're seeing here is that Kamala Harris is beginning to find that separation that she's been looking for since she actually became the nominee. The question is, will this actually hold, and can she continue to extend this lead? Now, there are no more moments in the campaign where she's going to have an audience, a captive audience of that 70 million like we saw last week during the debate. But there is the vice presidential debate, but it's unlikely that will actually give her the bump that she wants. But right now, what we're seeing is Donald Trump is, while he's certainly able to get the viral moments that he's always wanted, it's not really doing enough to actually gain him traction in the polls. And more importantly, what we're seeing here is Donald Trump is still maintaining the same amount of support, the level of support that he had during 2020 and 2016. So I think the riddle for the Trump campaign more specifically is, can they get over that threshold of about 46.7% in the polls to actually gain, to get victory?
We're also hearing that more than 100 different former Republican officials are now saying that Trump is unfit to serve. They've sent a letter saying they endorse Kamala Harris, and this includes, former members of Congress, former Republican defense secretaries, directors of the CIA, other national security officials. The impact of that, Eric?
Well, this is huge. And I think what we're beginning to see is this is more indicative of what's going on within the Republican Party than what we're seeing in the race for the White House right now. Because I do believe, in addition to these 111 officials, along with that more than 200 campaign officials, Republican officials that endorsed Kamala Harris in the lead up to the Democratic National Convention, I think what we're seeing here are Republicans who are laying down a marker that they are going to begin to push to retake control of the Republican Party post-election. And what we see from all of these Republicans is that they certainly have made clear their policy differences with Kamala Harris, with the Democratic Party. And so clearly they're maintaining their conservative bona fides. But what they are saying is this is a problem within the Republican Party that has to stop, and that we want our party back.
All right. And within the last hour, the U.S. Federal Reserve has cut the interest rate by 0.5 point, which is a pretty dramatic cut. And many thought it would be a quarter. It's in fact a half. We know that Donald Trump has said that the Fed should not be doing this so close to an election. And so he's going to be pretty outraged by a 0.5 point cut. Your thoughts on if that helps the Harris campaign, if that helps Kamala Harris?
Look, this cut is huge. We know it's certainly going to juice the markets. And also, it's unclear right now if it's going to have an impact on actually voters in terms of what they feel in their pocketbooks between now and November. The election's about less than 50 days away. But still, this is welcome news that I think the Harris campaign is certainly excited about. Even the Biden administration is happy about this. But when you talk to people inside the White House, that while they welcome this, they believe that it took the feds too long to actually make this cut happen. And I think this could be something that certainly the Trump campaign is going to rail against. Look, we know Donald Trump has been someone who has butted heads with the Fed even during his presidency. And so I think this is going to be clearly fighting words for the ex-president.
Hey, good to see you as always, Eric. Thanks for taking time for us today.
Thank you.